So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was your FRQ and how you answer that versus a lot of the FRQs that you probably answered up to this point. So in social studies, they like you to, get in and use your flowery language and kind of brag about how much you know. And here we just want you to write it down and move on. Okay? We don't want a whole paragraph.
How much time do you get for each?
In here, you get 45 minutes to do your FRQ, and then the next day you get 45 minutes to do your multiple choice.
No, like on the AP test, how much per FRQ question?
So in AP Chem, we have 3 long questions and 4 short questions.
So,
okay.
Which one's
and I believe for the total of them, that's what I wanted to say, but.
So 10 minutes for the short, and no, like 5 minutes for the short.
Okay, no, it's 105 minutes.
So that is 145.
So, yeah.
What is
so
this?
It's 105 minutes for section 2 and 90 minutes for the multiple choice.
Okay.
The multiple choice, they give you 1.5 minutes per multiple choice question. So in here, you're going to get 30 questions on your test.
Please excuse this interruption.
And you'll get 45 minutes.
The last name F to H that have not had their ID picture taken should head to the LMC at this time. Again, all sophomores, the last name F to H.
Do we have on our tests?
It varies, but I try to get it to where it's similar for the amount of time to the problem is that the FRQ questions oftentimes have multiple units in them.
Yeah.
So this time of year, I have to go in and I can't give you all of the questions that are on it because you don't know all the material yet. As we move on, the material builds. So on unit 2, you'll have some unit 1 and some unit 2 stuff. On unit 3, you get the idea. Okay.
So this is a short one. Is this a short?
Yeah, this would be short because there's only 4 parts to it. Typically, the longer ones will have oftentimes up to it'll go up to G or F, or G or H or I, and sometimes even within here that'll have multiple parts. Okay. So, but like I was saying before, we want you to get in. We want you to concisely answer the question and move on. Okay. We don't want all your extra language. We don't want all your extra flowers and bubbles and hearts and blue moons. Okay. They are not grading you on your sentence structure. Okay. When they ask for an answer, now here, they told you to determine the average mass amount. Yeah, they don't have anything here, but normally you might have to calculate something. You always have, unless it says, for example, it may say calculate the number of grams of something. You would have to put, and if it had grams, you could just put the number down. If they had grams in the question, if they say calculate the mass, you have to put grams at the end here because your calculation could be kilograms. It could be micrograms. It could be. So unless they state the unit specifically.
So it's probably safe to just always write the unit?
Yeah. But if you get the unit wrong and you get the number right, they'll still mark it wrong.
Okay.
We don't want, here it says identify the element. Now in social studies, you would probably do something like the element that we identified was magnesium. Here you just write down magnesium and you walk away.
Awesome.
Okay.
Don't. Yeah. So we want the answer and we want you to move on. And what are you doing when you write out those full sentences when you don't need to?
Wasting time.
Exactly, which you do not have. Okay?
Do we have to write out the full name or could we write the symbol?
You could write the symbol down.
Genius.
Save even more time.
But if you don't know the symbol and you know the name, just write the name down. Okay?
I hate tungsten.
All right.
Tungsten.
What-
Why is it W?
Because it comes from the
No, I don't know.
original word was wolfram,
Why did they change it?
because it was a foreign language.
Keep it.
What?
Keep it.
All right.
Jen would like them
Could
to
you
change
put
it.
electrons as E minus and then
I'm gonna become
Yeah.
a genius one
Okay,
day and change
That's a
it
good
back.
question. She
Like I
asked
thought.
about
We're
this.
gonna get in charge of the computer.
As we move through the year, I will tell, like, there's specific, like, kind of accepted abbreviations in chemistry.
Like shorthand?
For example, yeah, shorthand. This is acceptable. You can write electron like this.
So is P plus, right?
Yep, P plus, and
IMF.
NO is neutron. These are acceptable anywhere you go in the world. So you guys can, I have my own shorthand that I do in my note taking and stuff, but these abbreviations are accepted chemistry wide. Write them out. Okay. So just use the abbreviations if you can, because that'll save you some time too. And we're going to have stuff like that. Like, for example, I think it's next unit, we talk about intermolecular forces.
IMF.
No, two units from now. You can write down IMF. You don't have to spell that out.
That's a long
You can
time.
write out London dispersion forces as LDF.
What if you
You
make
don't
a
have to-
spelling mistake?
No, they don't. As long as they can understand it and it's not something that's going to change the meaning of the thing, then it's fine. Like if you write down quantitative and you meant qualitative, it's going to be wrong.
Yeah, but if you did QAU instead of
That's fine.
Why would anyone do that?
Yeah, but yeah, that minor spelling errors are going to be fine. They're not going to penalize you for that. This is, like I said, this is not English. It's not social studies. They want to know if you know chemistry or not.
This is a really
Okay.
pretty marker.
All right. Questions, other questions about either the FRQ and how to write it, or about the material that's on the FRQ here that you want to talk about?
For the last one, did you say they're in the same column? Or
I said because they have
period
the
instead
percent.
of the valence electron?
No.
Or no, the C.
See? Okay. No, you wouldn't be able to, that, you can't justify it based on just the fact that they're in the same column.
You
You've
have
got
to
to
say that.
explain what that means. By being in the same column, this happens. Okay? So just stating that the trend occurs isn't good enough. You've got to
Can you
explain what the
say-
trend is.
Can you leave out the sense they have part? Can you just say form +1 ions and oxygen in 2-to-1 ratio? Because I don't know, the +1 ions implies that it has 1 valence.
Yeah, but I think you need to write out what it means.
Okay. Check. I need a new where? The fake marker.
How many questions, response questions are going to be on the test?
Tomorrow on Monday.
I think there's 4, but they're, like I said, the problem with this time of year is that I have to, so there's 3 parts to number 1, there's 2 parts to number 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to number 3, there's 1 part to 4, and 4 parts to 5. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Wow, I know what it
11,
does.
I can't even see that.
12, 13, 14 questions.
I wasn't going to. I just saw the color.
Is that
She
how-
also doesn't allow me to use that
What?
one
Is that
because
how
it's a
much
neon
we
one.
gave you?
Right.
Well, the AP is going to be longer because you're going to have it at like twice the amount of time. So the AP, you're going to have, I try to pace it so it's similar. Okay. But again, this time of year, it's kind of hard to do because when they give you an FRQ, like in May, that FRQ is going to, like, they could ask something from unit 1, from unit 5, from unit 7, 8, and 9, all in the same question. I can't do that right now
Because we don't know it.
because you don't know the stuff from those other units yet. So as we get closer to May, the the FRQs in here are going to look much more like the ones that you're going to be taking in May. But right now I have to kind of pick and choose what I'm grabbing. Yeah.
Are all of our tests like in here going to be like the same format? Like
Yep. And I try to give you your FRQ first, even though you're actually going to have your FRQ second for the exam, because then while you guys are taking the multiple choice section the next day, I'm grading your FRQ.
Yeah.
And that way I can get your results back to you faster. If I flip it the other direction and you're doing the multiple choice, then I've got to take time and find time to get the FRQ graded and not be able to get it back to you as fast.
FRQ has to take more time.
Yeah, the multiple choice I just send through the machine and it's done. And so if I have the FRQ to grade while you guys are working on your multiple choice, then I'm kind of taking advantage of that time and being able to do it like that. In April for your final exam in here.
4 days.
Yeah, it's 4 days. And that you get the whole enchilada. It's the whole thing. I take 4 days to do it. And then we spend a couple weeks going through that test. You're doing corrections to the test at the same time and you get the points back like that. And you don't have to spend as much time outside of class doing it. So. Maybe, if you're lucky.
Can we get a mole? I think I want like a giant mole.
That's what we did last year.
No, not like miniature mole. It's just like an entire giant
Like
mole.
just get him an actual mole at this point.
No.
Dude,
Why don't you just order a mole costume off of Amazon?
Ben, please
What?
order a mole costume already before.
Yeah, we have Fernando.
Oh,
Mole.
I think you should wear the mole costume when we take this. Please? That would be amazing.
I think Craig should get a real cool.
All right. Curricular material questions, things that you don't understand.
Are we gonna get like a small review or is it just like whatever? For the multiple choice one.
Okay, any other FRQ questions? Anything on here that you're like, I have no idea what she's asking about. Where did she come up with that? Everything making sense on there?
So if it says describe, we can just do the math equation and describe it, not words. It makes sense. It says describe how to.
Yeah, this is a description. Yeah, you don't need to verbally give it out. You can use your math to make the description happen.
Math is words.
So
Okay.
true. Math is wise. Words are not.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the last part of that? Oh, okay. I like that one. Okay.
Okay, everybody cool with the FRQ? We can come back to it later if something comes up. All right, let's go back to the multiple choice questions, things that you wanted me to go over specifically there. Now, typically with the multiple choice, a lot of times there's 2 that you can get rid of and leave 1 behind, okay? So when that happens, kind of try to do your elimination first, and then you're usually given a 50-50 shot. If you are like, I have no flipping idea, I can't even like narrow this down, or if you run out of time, always choose the same letter to fill in as your default. Okay, don't jump around. It's not after the 3rd quarter of the Badger game. Okay.
Jump around.
Okay. Any question?
Number 7.
7.
Numero 7.
Okay, so we've got a 10.
This one was the hardest. Oh wait, I didn't even see the equation. Oh, I got it. Okay, that makes sense. I did. You guessed C. You're such a genius. Partially, I just didn't know what the molar part of solubility was, because that's what. I got that one right. I knew that. You know if you did that like that. It's never density, and it can't be MO. It's nothing. And then I'm like, nothing.
So, do you guys even know what molar solubility is at this point?
No, that's.
So you can probably get rid of those 2 pretty quick. Okay.
My thoughts exactly.
All right. And I can't explain that sort of thing until you get into that. So just get rid of those 2 right away. Is the Na2SO4 used in the experiment pure. So if that was pure, so when this precipitates out, it's going to take all the SO4 and leave behind the BA here. And that's what's going to be the solid. Everything else would be left as ions. Then you would be able to see if that was pure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
I got it right, but I just knew it wasn't the bottom two, and I'm like, NaSO4 is not as cool.
That's pretty much how Ben thinks, to be honest.
But I got all the multiple choice right, so. Which one? That's also because I'm like white powder labeled as BA, because we don't know if it's pure. We know that one is.
You started with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also add, that's it. We know it's that one, but it's a white powder. We don't know if it's pure. Genius. Boom. Okay. It's genius. Genius.
I'm just like, my brain is frozen, so I.
Well, because it says a sample of a powder labeled as BaCl, so you don't actually know that it is BaCl.
So
Right.
we don't know if it's the pure form.
It's just labeled that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it could
And then
be-
we know the second one because it's being added to it.
Right, it doesn't say we add something that looks a lot like
Yeah.
BaCl.
But then we would be able to answer
We are able
The best
to answer B.
this.
So what is the main goal?
Yes.
What's the best?
Could best be answered. We don't need to know if the second one's pure. We need to know if the first one is pure. Because it's what what is it called? The first element. It's what's the what is it? The A element. Element A. Yes.
Because we could also answer the first question, but it's not
The calculated number of moles of BA in the precipitate can be compared with the expected number of moles of BA in the 10-gram sample of BaCl2. The presence of fewer moles in the precipitate would imply that it's not pure.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is, if you add this, if you add the BaCl and the NaSO4, this is a net ionic equation. So what's going to happen is the BA is going to grab a hold of the SO4 here. That's going to come out. Okay? If the number of moles of this material matches the number of moles of 10 grams of BaCl2, then it's a pure sample.
Yes. So, right. Genius. Okay. Any other questions? No. No. Oh, yeah. I think I know that. No.
Please excuse this interruption. Any sophomore students with last name I to R does not have an ID should head to the LMC to have your picture taken at this time. Any sophomore I to R that does not have an ID, please send to the LMC.
Any sophomore, I to I.
All right. Anything else? What else do you want to talk about? Mostly just review from regular chem.
Yeah. It's just,
Dusting off a lot of cobwebs.
yeah.
I have on Google Classroom, I don't know if you have gone on there or not recently, but it would be a good idea for you this weekend to go and watch the videos for Unit 1. That's not where I want to hit. Here, videos. So I went out and assigned all of the videos out there so that you would have access to them. So they would be a definite good review for you to go out and view. Remember, I have that paperback book that I had you check out for Mrs. Crook. That's Unit 1. That's also an excellent resource to use to review for Unit 1. Okay, well, all units, but
How far does it go? Label it?
I believe it's labeled by unit. Yeah. Oh, I know it's labeled by unit. Yeah, it's laid out and labeled by unit. I think that it's laid out by topic, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So each one of these is the topics that I have gone through with you, and I think that book is also laid out with those topics as well, in terms of that. But I know it's laid out in terms of units. Okay, so this weekend, spend some time with that. That's what you want to do coming in, because you want to get as good a score as you can. You're still going to get it curved, and you're still going to be able to do corrections on it. But the fewer corrections you have to do, the better it is for you. Better grade-wise and time-wise. Okay? All right. So I